What is the Izok gap in moral philosophy? Imagine trying to build a bridge from what is true about the world to what we believe we should do. That's essentially what the Izok gap is about. It's a key idea in moral philosophy that points out a tricky problem. On one side, we have facts about the world, like people feel pain when injured, or most people prefer happiness. These are called descriptive statements or is statements. They tell us what is happening or what exists. On the other side, we have prescriptive statements, also called ought statements. These tell us what should be done, like people should avoid causing pain, or we ought to help those in need. The challenge is figuring out how to move from the facts about the world to moral rules or obligations. The Izok gap says that just knowing what is true doesn't automatically tell us what we should do. For example, just because something is common or natural doesn't mean it is morally right. If most people lie, that doesn't mean lying is acceptable. This idea was first clearly pointed out by the philosopher David Hume. He argued that many moral arguments make a leap from describing facts to prescribing actions without explaining how the leap is justified. In the context of moral objectivity, this gap raises an important question. If moral truths are objective, meaning they are true regardless of opinions, then how do we connect these truths to facts about the world? Some philosophers say moral facts are different from non-moral facts and cannot be reduced to them. Others believe that moral reasoning needs extra assumptions or values that go beyond just observing facts. A practical example is laws. Just because a law exists doesn't mean it is morally right. For instance, some laws in history allowed unfair treatment or discrimination. That doesn't make them morally justified. The Izok gap reminds us that moral judgments involve more than just facts. They also include principles, values, and sometimes assumptions that are not directly observable. Some philosophers argue that certain things have intrinsic value, like human life or happiness. If that's true, then knowing these values might help us bridge the gap. For example, if human life is inherently valuable, then we have a reason to protect it, which connects what is to what ought to be. So, the Izok gap is about understanding the limits of what facts can tell us about morality. It shows that ethical reasoning isn't just about observing the world but also about applying principles, values, and sometimes making assumptions that go beyond what we can see or measure. It's a reminder that moral thought involves more than just facts. It involves how we interpret and prioritize those facts in our moral choices.